If you had a mobile phone back in 2003, BYD probably made its battery. Today, they sell more electric cars than anyone, including Tesla. So this isn't just an automotive story. It is a playbook for how component suppliers beat the established players whenever categories shift. And best of all, it's something that most companies completely miss when they're sitting on an opportunity like this. So in this video, I'm breaking down the exact playbook that BYD has used to go from a battery supplier to a category leader. And more importantly, the tactical framework that you can apply to recognize and execute this same move in your own market. Let's start with some context. BYD was not a car company. They were the world's second largest rechargeable battery manufacturer. So their customers were Nokia, Motorola, Samsung, Dell, HP. They were also selling batteries to auto brands like Ford and Toyota and Volkswagen. And so they saw something that their automotive customers didn't. The batteries were becoming a critical constraint in vehicles. Car companies understood the engine part of the car, but they didn't understand the battery. And the reliance on battery technology was only going to increase with time. So BYD recognized that they were sitting on a lot of expertise that would become more strategically valuable as the category shifted from gas to electric. So in the early 2000s, they bought a failing car company and started building their own vehicles under the BYD brand. Today, they supply those same batteries to their competitors, including Tesla, while outselling everyone. So here is how they did it. First of all, they didn't quit their day job. When BYD expanded into automotive, they didn't pivot the whole company. They ran parallel paths. They kept supplying batteries to all of their electronics and automotive customers while simultaneously building their own vehicles with their battery technology. These were two distinct business units operating side by side. Why it worked. B2B revenue funded the B2C development. Plus, their supplier relationships gave them ongoing market intelligence about what competitors were doing, what was working, and what wasn't. This also gave them incredible optionality. If the vehicle manufacturing part of their company didn't work, they still had their core business, their moneymaker, to go back to. So how you do it? First, develop a simple thesis about how your market will shift in your favor. Write it down, share it internally, pick a few people, maybe some customers externally to validate it and adjust it, and then map out exactly how the customers integrate with you today and where the inefficiencies exist. This is where your expertise can present new opportunities in the future. The key decision here, what would need to be true if you were to run parallel paths without a hard pivot or shifting your business from one to another? As an exercise, think about how Amazon AWS hosts Netflix and Spotify, that's B2B revenue, that also compete with Amazon Prime, their B2C service. Number 2, place unfair bets. Traditional automotive companies designed vehicles first, and then they sourced the batteries to fit into that existing design. BYD totally flipped this. They designed vehicles around the battery constraint. They bet on a cheaper, lower density battery chemistry that most of the other OEMs viewed as inferior technology, but BYD trusted from its deep expertise could work for very specific use cases. Why it worked. Most challenger brands benchmark against their incumbents. They try to match features or shave prices on the same dimensions. But BYD used their deep component knowledge to make design choices that other customers probably couldn't even envision. They weren't trying to win on traditional automotive dimensions. They were redefining which dimensions matter to the automotive market. How you do it. First, identify 3 dimensions that incumbents currently compete on. Number 2, identify 3 completely different dimensions where you think your expertise creates advantages. Number 3, imagine your product if it was designed to win decisively on your dimensions while accepting being worse on everything else, including the existing category expectations. If incumbents are competing on breadth or performance, then maybe you're competing on integration simplicity or adaptability. You're not trying to beat them at their game. You are trying to change the game where your niche expertise creates structural advantages that they can't replicate. The key decision here, what dimensions are you going to deliberately own versus concede to competitors? They need to be bigger than nice to haves. Number 3, bring the market with you. BYD immediately supplied their next-gen batteries to their customers, or AKA their competitors. This was a critical move because they needed the market to see the world through their eyes. Now, the biggest car brands like Tesla and Toyota and Ford use BYD batteries and totally validate their market thesis. It's why it worked. By continuing to supply the market, they didn't force an either-or decision to be made by their customers. Customers could buy BYD batteries, or they could buy BYD vehicles. How you do it. Some of your energy will need to go into reframing the category conversation around your integrated strengths. So use your dual business model as a proof of leadership and an industry evolution toward better solutions, not competitive attacks on your customers. The key decision here, how will you bring existing customers and partners along as the category shifts? The framework, here is the condensed playbook to go from supplier to category leader. Step 1 is evaluate your wedge opportunity by developing your market thesis and validating it. Step 2, dual track your operation by launching a new business line as an experiment while protecting your core customer relationships. Number 3, build compounding advantages by designing around the dimensions where your expertise will win every time. And then step 4, establish category leadership by bringing the market with you so they see the world through your eyes. And, you want to convince them to go along on the ride with you. The two things that have happened before and will probably happen again are that inputs will become commodities and categories are going to shift to evolve. The question isn't whether this will happen in your sector, it is when it happens and whether you'll recognize it when it happens. So if you want a detailed framework with all of the tactical questions to ask at each step, I've written a full playbook in my newsletter called First to Market. There is a link in the description. And if this was helpful, please subscribe so that you can get more growth playbooks in the future.